The last thing we want to do is to set up computer security. There's an enormous barrier to you doing your job. It's got to be something that's there to help you, doesn't get too much in the way. So we're going to show you some things, and hopefully one or two of them practically. It'll spark off, I hope, some ideas, and who knows, even some action later on. We're spending some time, we're always spending time researching things at Sussex HIS. We don't have a massive research budget, but we do look at new technologies that comes through. We're always looking for new ways of using technology profitably for everybody. So that's just to show you some examples of things we've been looking at lately. First of all, though, what is there out there now, and where do we move from there? Well, you're all familiar with using passwords and so forth. It's to stop the wrong people getting into your assets, to get into your records and your patient records. Obviously, you try to protect your PCs and various other things with antivirus stuff. And I would say that before Sussex HIS came along in 2004, am I right, Wendy? 2004, yeah. July 2004, was around there. And a lot longer, as you would say. There were a number of organisations supporting IT across Sussex, and naturally they didn't all use the same products. They didn't all use the same antivirus products. They didn't use a lot of the things that were the same. There's a lot of non-standardisation. So part of what we did over the last few years, have done over the last few years, is attempt to get better value for money with fewer products, choose the best in breed where we can, and get good deals and so forth. Steve particularly is very good at that sort of thing, and he's also very much an innovator. So he's always looking for new opportunities. We've forged alliances with a number of big blue chip computer companies, and trying to get more out of them than any money we've ever put in. We try to actually get what we can out of them because we can provide them with a platform with a lot of users and a lot of infrastructure to actually try out things. Halfway through the history, going back to 2004 to 2011, there were a spate of big losses of data, and a lot of public concern, and a lot of running around headless. And at that stage, we started doing one or two things based on some central initiatives. For example, there were encryptions of laptops going on, a product called SafeBoot. Encrypted USB sticks, like safe sticks, started to appear to replace ones that aren't. People were encouraged, and still are encouraged, to use NHS mail. I don't know whether most of your practices use NHS mail. I imagine they do, almost all of them. But, some of the trusts don't use it so much yet, but I think you're leading in that really. And obviously behind the scenes, there's an awful lot of infrastructure looking after security, which you won't ever really see or be aware of, but it is actually stopping things going wrong. Just a few words on passwords. It's just something you ought to think about every now and again, about how strong is your password, and so forth. Have you stored it on a post-it note, stuff on your PC at work? Probably not. See, we've got an auditor with us here, and I'm sure we'll go around and check. But one of the things that, first of all, I want to talk about, and I unfortunately can't actually show you, is the fact that people are always forgetting their password. You're forced to change it when you go into it. It's one of those irksome things that, if it's a good one, it's hard to remember. If it really is password 123 or something like that, it's not good enough really. So people do forget them, will do, and also there's the thing that you might well mistype it and all the rest of it and get locked out. Well, is there a way of getting them reset? Yes, you phone up the help desk maybe, or you speak to an IT person, and basically they get it all set up for you. But that doesn't necessarily work out of hours. It's one of those things that people do work out social hours nowadays, and if you've left the caps lock key in and locked yourself out or done something else, you might not actually find anyone to help you. Then of course there might be the temptation to phone up a friend and find out what their password is and use that one. And phone a friend is not a known, not a legitimate technique in passwords, I'm afraid. So there is a bit of technology coming along that will actually help in that area. As I say, I can't actually show it in this environment because it's very much linked to the whole infrastructure, but at the end of the day, it's fairly similar to the sort of thing you're probably already aware of in a lot of sort of websites that you might log on to, things like that. You probably come across things you can't see it very well there, but it says forgot password. At some point you can get to click a link to say, I've forgotten my password, can you do something about it? Well, essentially this system can do something about it. When you click on it, you have to put in your username. It does expect you to remember your username. That doesn't change. And then, because you will have set up previously, one hopes, some of the questions that you have to provide answers to here, it knows it's you. So essentially, you know, if you can tell it where you had your first job or whatever the questions in the world were from, and so forth, it says, okay, I trust you, this is you, and that's your account. I'll now allow you to change your password, so you can change it. And then when you go back into your account, you find it's got the password you just set. So essentially, it can be done 24 hours a day. You know, it's just one of those things that, frankly, you're sort of used to, aren't you, in certain areas. And, why can't you do it if you work? You know, something like that. It's daft that you can't, and it's something that is possible.
What if you forget any of those questions?
So if you forgot those?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't be able to reset your password there and then, I'm afraid. Yeah, those are questions that you choose.
You say for so many accounts and you get so many passwords.
Sorry?
You will make a whole journal of passwords. It's so complicated to remember everything. So if you're stuck with those...
You're not stuck with those two questions. I mean, you know, maybe you don't even have a favourite drink. You know, that's one of those things. Some people just go in and make their mind up. But there's a whole panel of questions, and I suppose it can even be tailored. You know, so you actually choose the questions you think, you know, you then put your answers in. Frankly, it's one of those things that it's impossible to completely make this foolproof. And if you were to put in, for example, you know, your postcode or something like that, that possibly might be a security issue in itself. So we have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, when I showed it today, going to be around PC security, but in answer to your question, with the investment we made with this product around what's called identity management, part of that offering has single sign-on. So I completely hear what you're saying about all these usernames, all these passwords. One of the things that we're also working with some of our users with is working towards that concept of where you've only got one username and password when you're using the systems through one of the NHS PCs. So that single sign-on, or reduced sign-on as we call it, to not overset the bar, is something we have today. It's something Nick and my team, so Nick from Nick's perspective, working on those security and governance elements of it, my team working on the technology, which is interesting because not all of the clinical systems are, shall we say, new, to create that single sign-on. And that's, again, unfortunately, because we're not on an NHS site here, something we can't demonstrate. Again, as Nick offered earlier, if that's something we're interested in, it's something we can definitely demonstrate to you back at the branch and take you through what those offerings.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, if that's the only password you have to remember, you've got a way of actually resetting it.